now. Is I also received a key for Lens Island. So we'll be going ahead and having a look at that today too. So they did not provide me a link or anything, so I'm gonna have to sort that out myself, but that's fine. That's easy enough to do. All I have to do is go grab the store page, which is easy to grab. I just need to type out the name right quick. Yeah, and people are always welcome to send me a DM about any of the lobbies that I'm bringing up at any point, and we can see if I can make something happen for y'all based on that. Be it either a Blue Sky message or Discord, etc. It's not like I'm hard to find. And that's just a general purpose statement there. Go ahead and fix the timer. Post again. There we go. Alright. Delays aside, we should be in business here. And of course the ads popped after I'd already gotten most of that work done. This is why I was aiming for the 2-hour mark. I thought I had timed it right, but I should have looked at the timer. Oh well, it's fine. This gives me a moment to audio balance and everything before anything happens, so. I'd only booted this one up for a few minutes to make sure it worked. Because I hadn't originally intended to do both of them today, and then I realized that that DLC was actually on the relatively short side, and I didn't want to spoil the entire DLC in an advertisement for the DLC. That just seems, you know, kind of silly. There we go. Now, you may have seen people playing Lens Island, because it actually popped up a decent amount. Am I not allowed to have a space? I'm not allowed to have a space. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna go ahead and skip the intro. Oh, for sake of brevity. I do want to point out, look at the amount of world settings you have. Look at all of these world settings you can adjust. Because this is a fairly typical survival crafting game, which means you have the usual survival crafting settings. But I'm always happy that they actually give them to you, because some games don't, and sometimes the experience in those games is not really palatable to enough of the players? I don't know if that's the right way to phrase that, but that's the basic idea there. There's even a permadeath mode, which is interesting. This is an interesting setting here too, being able to adjust how vendors work, so you can actually only sell to them. You can't buy things from them, or vendors are useless, which is interesting. Interesting, you can't increase enemy sight range, you can only decrease it. Okay. We're not going to change much of anything here. I just want to look at how the values are affected. Falling into the void. I'm worried that that's a concern, but we'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I'm not going to worry about removing its damage right now, because I don't know how much of an issue it'll actually be. Oh, goddammit. I meant to just make a quick audio adjustment and I lost the other thing. Oh, in a very big reversal from the previous game, this is all the audio control I have, by the way. Music and main volume, nothing else. I mean, nah, sometimes the void is quite friendly. The void is quite useful. But when the only definition for the void is falling into it, that's probably not great. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just leave all this alone. I just wanted to show that these settings exist. Oh, you can actually make day length actual daytime length. 2 minutes per day seems insane. Like, I don't know how you would function with that. I've already got a character created, and he's done nothing of substance, so we'll just keep him. Just so I don't have to run through any character creation nonsense. There isn't a ton in there. There's just like a handful of skin color settings, a handful of hair settings, the usual stuff. Nothing particularly remarkable or issuable there. And it does take it a few seconds here to load. Nothing too exceptional. But the short version of the plot up till this point, basically, people found these fancy light crystals, and people became obsessed with fancy light crystals, and then turned into weird void monsters. That's the short version. People who used the light crystals too much became these, like, horrible abominations. And we're here to try to figure out where they all came from and why this all happened to try to save civilization. And we're not the only ones here. There are people here. They got here before we did. What do you got? Oh, apparently that didn't actually open your trade menu. That just had you tell me things. Ah, that's understandable, yeah. Is some places will just do that, especially if they've got turnover like you're talking about there. Oh, okay, you buy from just in the world. That's not a trade menu. Okay, so, like, this helmet here is actually purchasable. Okay, that's actually kind of neat. I like in-world shops once you understand them. But clearly, we're not going to be able to afford much of anything. Honestly, the store I used to work at had some of those same problems, so I can understand where those problems can come from. But that does also indicate some less ideal bits as well, for sure. Okay, I can build in the caves too. Neat. We can build bridges and such to get past things. Oh, jumping is a thing. Good to know. Got a dodge roll. I assume since we can freely jump, that's why fall damage is a concern, because I could, like, hop off of here onto all that. That may very well count as void down there, since it doesn't look like we can come back. I could, you know, just start off by building something, but why not explore spooky underground? One of the tooltips did mention that instead of needing to travel by boat, we can get to the other islands through the tunnels, which makes me happy. That means you can just kind of freely travel as long as you can survive the journey. And it seems like the Jello cubes aren't too strong. At least not yet. We are missing a decent chunk of health. But oh no, we do have tools, actually. Now, something that popped up that I should explain, since it's not going to pop up again, is there's timing to the attacking in this game. That's what those circles you saw popping up are. If you click in time with those circles, you'll attack more. And I think it is also stronger? I don't entirely remember. It does look like there's also timing with the pickaxe, too. Yeah, there we go. Now we're hitting it harder. Breakable as well? No, that's not there. That's not real. Yeah, hopefully all of that business with that job works out for you, but at the same time, Definitely seems worth keeping your eyes open about how that place is managed and such. Are there rocks falling, or is there something big running around? Because I could hear noises. I'm not the biggest fan of hearing random noises when I'm in a cave. Makes me almost think the place is gonna fall in on my head. And I don't know if there's cave-ins in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if there are. It is mildly unfortunate that there is a whole load screen coming in and out of the underground, but that's not too unusual. And at least the load screens aren't particularly long. But it does mean if you're running in and out a lot, you are going to be interrupted a lot. A more seamless transition between those would be very nice. But depending on how this engine works, that might not be possible. Oh god, bees! Good to know, trees can sometimes have bees. I don't know if there was a beehive that I just didn't see, or if that's genuinely just a... Sometimes this happens. Because this tree didn't attack me with bees. Did I get, like, honeycomb or anything out of that? Oh, interesting. So it's all in the form of resources. Just in these various things here. Okay. That's different. That does mean that we can see, like, everything straight away, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It doesn't look like there's anything really hidden in here. So I have mixed feelings about the menuing here. Because this basically spoils the entire, like, progression as far as material goes. I suppose I should wander off and actually build a house like the game wants me to. This way we can see what following along with that actually leads to. Unlike how I normally do these things and go, we'll worry about that when I feel like it. I probably don't want to build too awful far away from where the NPCs are, because I'm assuming I'm going to need to make contact with them occasionally. And at the very least, commerce can be of a benefit to us. Worst case, I could always just build somewhere else later. So we'll just clear some space, like over here by the water, and set up something, because I'm assuming since there was a setting for crops dying without water, that we're gonna want to be able to have ready access to water. Because it seems like we only have a hunger meter, we don't have a thirst meter. Oh, there is a limitation to how much wood you can carry. Very good. Good to know. So one person carrying 50 wood is a little silly already, but we take those. Let's go and knock this down, even though I can't carry it, just to get it out of the way of where I'm going to be building. And that should do for now. Game, please. I don't need a pop-up about everything I'm doing. It's almost like that's what I clicked already. The note about edit mode here is handy. And it does seem like the building in here actually is going to be reasonably detailed, so that's good. I'm not sure how to feel about the random zoom that just happened there, because I didn't do that. up some of the wood that's scattered around. Okay, I can get it out from underneath the boards. I was about to be really upset about that. I don't know how much crafting stuff we are going to be making, so we'll go one more wide. And one more down. There we go. That should do. Of course, now I've used up all the wood already. Which is what I was debating about. It's like, that is going to make this take a bit longer to build because of resources. But I also don't want to have to build it bigger anytime quick. Because the more often you have to expand it, the longer this whole process is going to take. So I'd rather just build something I can work with straight away and then just not think about it for the duration of the session. We can worry about making something neat and pretty later. I do like that the trees can knock each other over. That is both very fun and great for efficiency. And also, it's kind of weird when a tree just, like, clips through another tree. That is a little bit of an issue right here, though. You'll notice we ended up damaging our foundation. That sure is a way to repair things, just flailing your hammer around like a fool. Look, I'm fixing things! Ah, fix it. Fix it, 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 fix it. Okay. I'm not gonna have a door going every way, but we'll have a door going out, like, this way and the other way. That should cover most directions. What do you mean obstructed? What? Okay, it allowed me to place it even though it said it was obstructed. Interesting. Is it just, like, the bush? Is the bush enough to obstruct this? Oh no, the walls are there. They're just doing that weird transparency thing without actually giving you any indication that it's there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so our box is nearly assembled then. Door. Door. Arguably, I don't really need to put a ceiling on this. Yeah, I kind of figured that at least a partial ceiling was going to be needed for it to count as a house, though. Okay, doors are automatic, so that's convenient. It was going to become a bit bothersome to have to constantly open the door every time. Well, open it and close it behind me, because we're not going to leave the door open. Who knows what would wander in while the door was open. We aren't living in a barn, even though it's going to kind of look like one, probably. Based on the fact that trees do damage when they get knocked down, though, I'm betting you can drop a tree on an enemy, too. That'll be fun. I do seem to be slightly starving, which is a grand inconvenience to my functionality here. I don't think I have any food. Yeah. There's a lot of things there, but we don't have any of them. We do have a few berries. Oh wow, berries actually feed you a decent bit. Never mind, we're fine. I kind of expected berries to do what they do in most situations, which is very little. But there may be more like long-term satiation and things like that that'll make berries less effective in the long term, but very effective in the early term or something. That's always a possibility. Am I full on wood again already? I am. It's very easy to end up filling your wood stock back up, apparently. But why is there... What? I guess you can carry some on the bar and some in the inventory? Weird. It's fine. Chuck the workbench over here so it's easy to find. Ah, okay. So as we do things, we learn about other things. Let's go ahead and put the bed over here just because of that arrow popping off of it. I assume we'll hop off the bed in the direction of the arrow. Last thing we need is to be hopping through the wall. We'll put a couple boxes down preemptively. Uh-huh, that's what I figured. Must be enclosed under a roof. They do give you quite a bit of building option, though. Some decent windows, some foundation extensions, hatches, ladders, skylights. Oh, there's going to be an issue of support toward the middle. So I guess we're going to need a pillar or two. I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of the rest of the roof isn't done yet. Maybe you, like, need to go around the edges before it lets you build the center. Which would make sense. I'm not gonna disagree with the logic there, I just don't exactly entirely agree either. Oh, there's one of them void creatures I was talking about. And it's dead. You would think humanity would be doing a lot better, or if they were all that easy to dispatch, but I'm betting they're not actually all gonna be that easy. It'd be rather silly if they were. You know, just one dude with a knife just walks up and just wrecks the whole lot of them. Oh, that's part of the problem, is it's snapping, like, up here for some reason, above the other part. Oh, that's not ideal. I want, like, a nice center skylight. I'm surprised I'm allowed to build that, because where'd I get the glass for that? It's also not completely centered, but it's fine. So now we can make spears, we can make hammers, shields, binaries, smelt. One of these things is not like the other. These things take a really big leap, don't they? As you go from a spear, a hammer, and a shield, these all make sense. Suddenly making a steam-powered refinery and a smelter, and... the raft and the Fletcher's table makes sense. The void chest is another interesting jump. Oh, that's because that's what we get when we level up the... Wait. If that's what we get when we level up the workbench, how do I actually use it? Ah, okay. Eh? No, that's used at an anvil. I don't entirely understand, but I suppose I should follow directions. Disown your bed. Okay, I need to get iron shards, and they'll teach me about the anvil, but they're skipping over the workbench for the moment. So I guess the workbench isn't the first step like it usually is, then. Yeah, I'd run away too if somebody came running into town at night with a knife in his hand. Doesn't seem great. And apparently the mushrooms won't hurt me, so you know what? So I'm assuming at full hunger I'll regen, probably. Yep, there we go. There we go. So we need to find iron. I'm kind of surprised I didn't find any when I was mining the random rocks down here. But I guess I didn't mine the right rocks. Oh, you know what it was? Maybe what I had found... Yeah, I had found some glass, I guess, when I was down here. Or maybe, like, I'd gotten some quartz or something and turned into glass? I don't entirely understand. I keep thinking I understand things, and then I realize I don't. Some mushrooms over there. We've already been up this ledge and came back down. I'm gonna start ignoring the regular rocks for the time being and see if I can find something more significant. Okay, those just are the same mushrooms we were carrying already. Since they were glowing green, I kind of assumed they were either going to hurt me or they were going to do something interesting. I'm assuming these are spawners for the Jello cubes, perhaps? Not really sure what all the Jello I'm getting from these things is for, either. Okay, I can't mine it. I can't break it with an axe. And I can't do damage to it. So I guess we're just gonna have to leave those alone for now. This looks like it'll have iron in it. Which I swear I broke a rock like this before, but what do I know? It's certainly taking longer to break, that's for sure. Sir, cease. I'm working here. Go away. Okay, so there's levels. I was wondering what that blue bar down there was. Turns out it's an experience meter. Yes, good for you, bot. Go away. Pretty sure absolutely no one wants what you're selling. There's that worrying, thunking and rumbling and crunkling up above our heads. A real shy amount of iron down here, huh? Is we got 4 pieces. So enough to make the anvil, basically. At least I'm presuming as such. So they did say we were supposed to build down here, so maybe we're supposed to build out to other platforms down here somewhere. That would make sense. I don't know if it would entirely make sense, because we can't really see the other land masses too well. We can just hop this gap, though. Iron! There we go. Because there's no sense going back right away, right? Like, sure, an iron sword would be nice, but we haven't really run into anything I need a sword for. And I'm betting we're gonna need more iron than just making a sword. I'd be very surprised if that was all I needed. These do seem like obvious platforms to build a bridge between as well. I have a specific bridge? I know I just looked at all of this a moment ago, but that doesn't mean I remembered. I guess we make the bridge either with ceilings or foundations, then. That doesn't snap. But I can just, like, do that, I guess. It's not the right height, which is probably why it's not snapping. But it'll do the job. Gonna have to jump there, but, you know, that's fine. Good thing I didn't set void falls to be instant death, huh? That'd be real awkward. And I built out to an island of nothing. Joyous day. Well, now's when my My adventure building becomes even more jank because I am going to cease caring at this point. Can I make this jump? Nope, sure can't. Because if it doesn't want to snap, I don't feel like fighting with it right now. I'm just gonna make it do the thing it needs to do. Oh wait, it's yelling at me that my tier's too low for that, so I guess that's not iron. And neither is this. I guess that's the next material up then. It's a little indistinct, but at least it tells you that you can't break it. Like, it doesn't just expect you to pay attention and notice that you're not getting numbers on it. Okay, according to that tooltip, we can use armor stance to swap armor. I don't know if armor is going to have abilities that are going to matter in terms of that, though. I would assume they will, but I don't know. That's just information I'm lacking. Let's head on back home and get the upgrade done. Door? Door, please. Hey, the anvil is just one shard. You're making an entire anvil out of one little piece of metal, but, you know, that's fine, right? That's totally how that works. Oh. Okay. I just need more wood for that. Does this also work on my tools? It does. What is this pickaxe made out of if it's not... I mean, I guess we're putting more metal on my metal? Suspicious. Also... Oh, that wasn't counting because it was on the bar. Interesting. Why can it go on the bar if it doesn't count? Seems strange. Unlocking the dungeon. Go to the dungeon entrance and light the obelisk to reveal the keystones on your map, then activate the keystones, and then unlock the dungeon from the obelisk. Alright. We'll get to that thought in a minute, though. I'm gonna make my tools better first. Because that makes sense to me. Why would I go down there with the junk tools I've got when I have the power to make better tools? So at the end of the day, the tools will make everything easier. Bees! The bees! Get in the water. Get in the water. Get away from the bees. Getting a little tired of the random bee stings, not gonna lie to you. Ooh, that makes gathering this stuff more efficient. Just swipe right through the bushes. I'm assuming this is clay. I don't know if it's going to be important, but I may as well grab it because it's here. Yep, sure is clay. Which means there's probably going to be like some pottery and such I can make with it that'll do something useful, theoretically. Make the pickaxe better. Ta-da! And then it takes hardened steel to make a better one from there. Oh, we can actually make the torch better, but that needs hardened steel to make a fancy metal torch. Make the axe better, so harvesting wood, it goes a bit quicker. There we go. Look at us with better tools. And now we just get a new hammer, I guess, because we did see the unlock for a better hammer right there. Oh, that might be a weapon type hammer, though, like big old two-handed slammer hammer. But we need salvaged metal for the upgrade there. I do appreciate that you can make your inventory better. It's always nice to be able to make better inventories. I assume this... Yeah, that becomes an even better sword once we get steel as well. Distinct lack of armor, though. So, how does one blueprint... Because you would think that you just... I guess probably put the blueprint in the slot here. Yeah. Okay. So you get the blueprints from the workbench, and then you use the blueprints on whatever you get the thing out of. Seems like an extra step that you don't really need, but fair enough. At least it makes sense. Fill our hunger back up so we stop being nearly dead. Okay, so you can disallow things from being stored, so that's helpful. I have nothing I really need to store at the moment, though. Yeah, I still have 0 coins, which is not really a surprise. Let's grab a bit of wood before we head down, just so we can make platforms as needed. Besides, may as well use the better axe now that I made it, right? Also, you would think we'd be able to make the steel, but I probably need the forge to do that. Because we have coal and we have iron. Usually those two come together to make steel. But that may not work that way in this world either. We don't know that yet. Let's see if we can mine the things we found over here. Nope, still too low for that. Okay. That must be some titanium or something then. Based off the list we saw. Now, where's that obelisk? Probably off the other way where we saw the slimes. Is that... Oh no, that doesn't connect back to where we were. That is a different spot. Let's make a safer bridge for this one, because this looks like I might have to get into a fight over here a little bit. Oh, there we go. Weapon tier 2 low. So we can't get rid of the spawners yet. That is absolutely the case then. Okay. That's fair enough as well. $18 and $22 is definitely better than what we were doing before. It is interesting that they decided to do all of this based on a timing system instead of how things are usually done. Oh, you do actually have a special technique associated with the better sword, too. We can do, like, a spin attack now. So that's always fun. I do have a map. Interesting. It's not the most helpful of maps, but it's better than nothing. Because I assume that up arrow was where we came from, and the doorways might be... Well, no, because if the doorways were other entrances, they should all be up arrows, theoretically. Oh, there's a broken bridge here that we can just fix, and... Ah. Sure, yep, that's how that works. No questions here, boss. The bridge totally didn't just magically reform itself before my eyes when I told it to fix it or anything. No. That would be very silly if that was what happened. I already used up all the wood, huh? Yikes. Hup. Missed it. Hup. Missed it. Okay, not making that right now. You know, I get the distinct feeling it would have been cheaper in terms of wood to have just built my own, like, little parkour or path across there instead of doing what they asked me to do to repair that. There we go. No longer red screen, so real. Did I make the music too quiet, or is there just no music right now? Does it really seems to be the come and go music instead of just being present? Let's go check back where we originally came down. I feel like since this is part of the tutorial, the dungeon entrance shouldn't be too far away. But this does seem to be randomly generated, so it's possible it could be far. Like, I wouldn't remove it from the realm of possibility. Okay, yeah, this all just looped. This is back where we cleared the slimes originally. Further along here might be where the dungeon entrance is. So I wouldn't assume that all the doors we saw on the map were dungeon entrances, just because that's a lot of dungeons. And it's pretty close together. Oh, the arrow is me, though. Okay, so the doors are surface access points, then. Okay. I didn't even think of an up arrow being myself, because why would your character icon be an upward pointing arrow? Unless it's... No, it's not directional. It doesn't change with how I'm facing. Huh. Weird. So where do they want me going? Well, one way or the other, we're out of wood to build bridges with, so we should probably pop back up and get more wood first. Yeah, the game even says target egg sacs first, except we couldn't actually target the nests in a meaningful way, so that's interesting. We also haven't run around on the surface too much. They did say that the... Well, then again, they didn't say the dungeon was... Yeah, the dungeon's up here. That's the problem. I assumed that the dungeon was in the underground because the last quest indicated for us to go to the underground. So it would make sense for it to be progressing down there. But no, the dungeon's just up here. Just right there, I guess. Well, you know what? Ow, my knees. Activate the thingy. Okay, so they are decently far away, but not crazy far. There's a rabbit. Give me your flesh. I hunger. Well, it gave me its flesh, but it was not the edible kind. It was just the fur kind. Mildly disappointing. This, I assume, is some manner of fast travel thingamajig? I see. I've learned so much. I've learned Len doesn't know how to read. Food. Get back here, Meals on Wheels. I don't care that you don't actually have any wheels. I'm impressed how we're just keeping pace with this thing. It's only slightly outspeeding me. God damn. It's enduring quite a lot. Get back here. I hunger. You know, ignoring all the rabbits and such we've kicked up chasing this thing. I easily could have stopped for any of those rabbits and tried to get food from them again, but it seems like rabbits are only for skinning, not for eating. Ignoring the whole beggars can't be choosers scenario there of thing with meat, give food, yum yum. Can I disassemble this boat? Not appeared to be the case. Oh, there's skill points. Dude. Oh. Oh, I see. Let's get that base damage increase. Oh, okay. I guess maybe I'm locked in over here now. And I have to, like, go across these to get back to those. Okay, that's not ideal. But that's okay. Appears to be that the boat is useless to us. Bottle, though. That's probably where we got the glass from when I was walking back up the beach to the town in the first place. Because there's a bunch of random stuff you can just click on the ground and pick up. Yeah. It makes sense. It all makes sense now. Barrel. Give things. Hey, the scrap mechanisms we need to make our workbench better. I could go to the dungeon, or I could learn technology. Clearly, I'm gonna go learn technology. I do like that I don't have to go all the way around this ledge here. I can actually just, like, parkour my way up. And, you know, I could build a staircase, but with hops like these, who needs stairs? Okay, I just need to gather some more wood now, and I can make our workbench better. I forgot that I spent a lot of the wood again. I will say this does seem like it would be better with people, but it's not bad. Like, so far there's not anything shocking or remarkable here. But I'm having a good time. There's potential in some of the ideas I'm seeing here. The real testament, though, is going to come with how the dungeon plays out, I think. The dungeon's going to be a very telling portion. There we go. Oh, full up again. I'm so used to needing to cut down a lot more trees to fill up in games like this, so I do appreciate the amount of wood you get per tree. Okay, from here we can get a scythe, an enchanting table, a loom, fireplace, a wood pile, a light stone ward. Ooh, that stops enemies from spawning. That's nice, though that is a lot of salvage metal we need for it. Ooh, synced inventory across all piles. Interesting. I like the idea of all of these having synced inventories. That will make life easier. So I can make a spear and a shield now. And the spear isn't that expensive. 30 damage a second versus 36 damage a second. But the spear would presumably have more reach. The hammer. Yep, that is a combat hammer, and it does a big slammy move, it seems. But I would likewise assume that I could only use the shield with the sword. Well, no, because with the hammer's DPS being so similar to the others, I assume this actually is a one-handed hammer. And the spear may or may not be one-handed, so you might be able to use the shield with any of these. But one way or the other, we probably do want a shield. But I'm betting I can't use it at the same time as the torch. Also, 100% roll cooldown penalty kinda stinks. Because that tells me you can either use the shield or you can roll. You can't do both. Unless it just makes the roll way slower and it's not just you can't roll at all. It's 100% penalty could be either, and I don't know which one's true. We could make a boat and just leave this place. But otherwise, I need to get a lot more metal again. The inventorying in this is a little odd. Oh no, I can have the torch and the shield. Okay. That is a stance. That sure is a stance you've got there, bud. Just let me stick my leg way out. That shield is also, not very helpfully angled. I put the torch away, does he do better? Yeah. Okay, it's just, he's just freaking out because he has the torch and the shield. Which, that, at least, actually is good. I understand and that makes sense. Because he's trying not to stick the torch in his own face. So I actually respect that. It's just at first looked stupid. But now, upon reflection, it starts to make sense. Let's put all the stone away. That's one way to look at it. He does not wish to burn his face off. You could call that a coward or you can call that sensible. It really depends on your angle on that whole thing. I, for one, would like to be able to see, so I can understand not sticking the torch in my own face. Timber! Hey, triple tree. Look at the convenience. I wish I could better control where the trees are falling so that I could purposely trigger that, but they seem to be somewhat random. Because it hasn't always fallen away from where I'm swinging. Now, what I want to check by putting all of this away is whether we can use it from storage or not. I need something that I actually could make. Nope, you can't use it from storage. Sad. Sad days. Give me that back, then. So I do think I want to try at least the spear. I don't think I'm interested in the hammer, but I'm curious about the advantages and disadvantages between the sword and the spear. See how they both play out. I'm also curious. Okay, it is... He does understand that he can use the shield and the spear together, so he's not completely useless. And he does understand that spears are meant to be for reach, not used right in front of your own face. And the timing on the spear actually seems to be pretty easy, so I think we will use this. Besides, look at that poke range. That's gonna make life way easier. Or early on, probably. Now we'll put the stuff away. And let's go get those keystones. Yeah, because if we just go straight west, we'll find the first keystone, and then we can go north from there. Go get the other one. Part of the idea with using the spear is I'm figuring it'll be a lot easier to catch food with the spear than it would be to catch food with the sword. Can I swim? I can, okay. I was worried I was going to need a boat just to cross this tiny little gap here, and I was going to be very upset. Yep, we got our first bit of spooky dark essence. What the hell am I looking at here? Oh god. There's a crawly thing. Okay, so that was also an evil thing that I just stabbed. Ah, there we go. We can learn rune language by reading. Seems not quite how that works, but also how that works at the same time. Okay, so those things that are emitting electricity, I guess, are the egg sacs. I would presume they did that to make them easier to spot. Also, probably to give them some basic self-protection. So the keystone's probably in that cave up here. Unless that's just another path to the underground? Let's have a look. Now this looks like a different splash screen, so this might be like a special area for the keystone. Or not. But no, it is but isn't. This is where the keystone is, so I was right thinking the keystones were underground. Just not right in understanding where the dungeon was. What does this do? Less roll cooldown. Okay, so there is a bow we can get, because there's a chance to not use an arrow when firing. It is tempting to go over here, though, and get increased gathering. Is doubling your, like, plant gathering rate and your hardwood and bamboo gathering rate would make things go a lot faster. But at the same time, artifact locations. I want the artifact locations. I'm too curious about this concept. I want shiny magic thingies. This is actually something? Aha! Oh, it was just mushrooms. They just looked weird at that angle, so I got curious. I don't like the way the game zooms in and out on its own. Can I turn that off? No. No, it doesn't look like there's any way to turn that off. Unless it's here in the... Ah, there we go. Automatic zooming. Stop it. I don't know why that would be considered a useful accessibility feature. Maybe there's something I don't understand. But that seems like the opposite of a benefit. Having it just go randomly, just if I want to zoom in, I can zoom in on my own terms. Okay, looks like this is a dead end unless I build off of here. But in the interest of getting the dungeon opened, we're not gonna faff around down there too much. We're gonna just go from keystone to keystone, open the dungeon, and see what's in there. I'm gonna try to be goal-oriented right now. No, rather than curiosity-driven. So it may be in our better interest to make a boat to try to get to the other spots that are marked on the surface map. Because it would arguably be shorter to go from here to there. And obviously that one's actually off on another islet. That would also involve stopping to make the boat by getting wood and such. So it's kind of a back and forth there of... Arguably, it would be faster if I did it immediately, but since I didn't, it's probably faster just to run. What's up, ABC? There you go. Spear does seem, as one would expect, less effective at harvesting than the sword. Eh, so far so good. How about you? Ah. Good luck with the exam. There's definitely a lot of them right now, I assume. I would figure, yeah, because it's getting on toward, or at least the middle of the year. Oof. No, the void creatures are interrupting my hunt. I want the food. Give food. You with the horns become his lunch. Woof. Entire month of exams. Yikes. There we go. Oh, wow, I way overshot my mark chasing those, but that's not a surprise. That's just reeds. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was going to be classed as something separate or if it was going to be more of the same material. Now we know the answer to that question. Oh yeah, I did grab some pumpkin. Nom. There we go. No longer hungry. Soon no longer injured somehow. Huh. Oh, that's a problem. Oh. Time to cut trees down in order to rebuild the bridge. I guess my boat plan wouldn't have worked then, unless there's a lower section on one of the sides. Which there could be. But with this axe, we can just clear out some trees pretty quick and get this sorted out. Ignoring the fact that some of the wood fell into the ocean. Na-na-na-na. Just summon a bridge. Oh, the keystone's just here. Okay. So yeah, the boat wouldn't have worked then. Bunch of salvaged metal. We're gonna need a lot more than that, but every bit helps. I do wonder if there's something where those ripples in the water are. Because there was a couple circular ripples over in the water to the left of where the keystone was. So I wonder if that's like where items fell in, or if that's just like where you could salvage stuff, like if you're in the boat, maybe there's like a net you could toss in there or something to get stuff. It's possible. One way or the other, we know that we don't have to go far to get to the eastern keystone because we were already most of the way there when I turned around after chasing the deer. Because here's where the fishing place is, right here. They sell a fishing rod. 10 gold, huh? No. I do not have any gold to begin with, so why would I spend 10 gold on a damn fishing rod? I may very well be able to make my own fishing rod. It's not like a fishing rod is that difficult a concept to make. You need to have a mechanism that can spin to pull the string towards you, and a mechanism to keep the string from immediately snapping when you do exactly that. And attach all of that to a long pole, long enough to be able to reach out into the water, and you're more or less good. Like, there's more to it than that, but that's the basic necessities of that concept. Like, honestly, you could just have a pole on with a piece of string on it, and arguably it could work as a fishing rod. Which wouldn't be a very good one. Ah, parkour. What? You can jump further when air rolling instead of regular jumping. Oh, okay, the old roll in midair bit. Okay. I thought, for a moment there, I thought they were, like, telling me to roll jump. Okay. See, usually that's unintended in games, so the fact that that's actually intended in this is interesting. Whoop. Wah! So now we know that we can do that, and we can actually, like... Oh, these are fishing spots. That's what the ripples in the water are about. Okay, that makes some sense. Just showing activity in the water. But now we've activated all of the thingies. Now we can go back to the dungeon and actually go in. For obvious reasons, I'm going to eat and heal before we get there. I wonder if those lily pads are anything of significance. Nope, they're just there. Understood. Yep. Yep. You know, if I had rolled in the air before, we actually would have made that jump I was trying to make in the other place. Oh well. Na-na-na-na. Complete the dungeon is the final bit of the tutorial. That makes sense. I was wondering if it was going to give me more than just that, is why I waited for a second. Oh, and the map is not going to be very helpful in here, as it turns out. There's not a dungeon map. There's only a surface and a cave map. But good news, I found money. Oh, that's upsetting. Yep, come on. Yep. Aha! Who needs to go around when I can just leap? They should not have taught me about air rolling. Now I'm going to use it to go everywhere, because why go normal ways when I can go silly ways? Okay, the spin move is going to be really good for just clearing them off of me while I'm trying to break a nest. I need to remember that the spin move exists. It also does not have much of a cooldown to it. Can I like this? I can. But I don't have what I need for it, I guess. Did I leave my coal at home? I did. That's why. That's fine. Though the torches might actually be important. They might be, like, to stop things respawning in this area or something. So let's go back and mine some of that coal we passed. Just in case it's important. Because those might, like, act as checkpoints. They might do any number of potentially useful things. So I probably shouldn't disregard them entirely. That is, of course, if any of these actually have coal in them. Which they might not. This one I don't think will. No. Thought I saw a rock with coal in it somewhere around here. I may be barking up the wrong tree. I mean, my house isn't far. I could just go back out and go to my house. And again, there's this ledge over here, and I didn't grab this box. There was nothing inside the box. Alright, let's go get the coal then. Because there might be unintended consequences if I don't, so let's just make sure I have things available. And there may be parts where I'm going to need to build anyway, so I should probably restock on wood and everything. Just in case. But I don't think there's any significant amount. No, I think there is wood in storage. I think I did leave wood in my storage. Yeah, genuinely just, like, right around the corner here. It is loading chunks rather frequently, though, which is not great. Don't have a particularly large loading zone. Okay, yeah, I do have enough wood to basically refill my inventory. Not as much coal as I thought, but that should be enough to light 4 torches, assuming each one takes 2. And it may also use wood, since there was a plus symbol there. I don't know if that was expecting me to... Words. I don't know if that was expecting me to add the item using that input, or if that was expecting me to... Brain, please. It could open a context menu when I clicked the plus that gave me multiple options. That's what I was trying to say. But my brain kept locking onto it expecting me to do something, which wasn't quite the wording I wanted, so brain just kept stopping itself. Okay, cooked venison will also give me health immediately. That's probably going to be the best food I can use right now, then. It is interesting that it looks like we can make some variety of leather here as well. Oh, out of the hides we have. Just had a pretty poor turnover rate, but we may as well make that while we're here. Since we're going to be here for a minute anyway. That does make sense. Okay. At least it doesn't take too long to cook a set of venison. Like, I would expect 6 of these to take longer to make than this did. So it does continue to burn the resource while it's doing that, so that's worth keeping in mind. Let's check the hides in here, and... No, it did auto-extinguish, actually. It just looked like it was still... It was probably finishing the piece that was in there. And then it would wait. I don't know how useful tanned leather is going to be, but I would presume that I want it. But then again, there might be situations where I need raw hide, too. So let's split the difference. We'll make 1 tanned leather to keep an eye on that as a material. Just thinking about it, I could have been getting ahead of myself, which could be an issue. Yeah, we didn't look at what this costs. Okay, you make basically a trident. But you just need hardened steel for that. Okay. Yeah, we need 3 tanned leather and 50 coins for the backpack, so that does make a good argument for me to use up all of that leather, but let's not worry about that right now. And whenever we don't need health, I'm just gonna use the berries to heal my hunger. Because the berries and the mushrooms don't directly heal health. So I'd rather keep the venison on hand to restore health with immediately. Even if it is going to be somewhat wasteful in terms of balancing your hunger, I think it's still better to keep the heal ready to go. Oh, and in brighter news, you remember the headache and everything I was talking about with my sinuses and everything? It seems like the hot tea I was drinking actually mostly sorted that out. I still don't feel great on that front, but things have improved after that, because I think it loosened my sinuses up. And they're actually, like, flowing a little bit better. Okay, looks like all of this respawned, which is not ideal. But that does get me more Dark Essence, so maybe that's not a bad thing. Depends on what Dark Essence actually is good for. Whoop. I was wondering about that, but it looked like that was reachable, so I figured I'd walk over to it to see if I could touch it and do something. Turns out that's a ledge, not a darker section of floor there. At a 50-50. You want that. Not this. Not any of you. Oh, the torch heals you. And also prevents freezing. Okay. Good to know. Looks like we'll have to build up to this potentially, unless this reaches. Oh, wait. Aha! Give. Okay, that was just for scrap parts. Less exciting than I'd hoped. I was kind of expecting there to be loot in there. But I guess that's asking too much with the way this game's laid out. We do only need one more salvaged metal, I think, for the next workbench upgrade, though, so that's nice. Oh yeah, it was a level. That's what I got. There we go. Display artifact locations in range. I don't know what that means still, but it sounds fun. Oh, you make spikes. Okay, very good. And you slam. And you've got a weird splitty mouth thing. And now you're dead. Yeah, again, these void creatures really don't seem nearly as dangerous as advertised. Ow, ow, ow. You know, that button really seemed more like it was going to do a good thing. It didn't do a good thing at all. Oh good, they don't understand stairs. Spawner's dead. Gotta go. Speaking of dead, that was nearly me too. That was certainly quite the eating noise. They do not hold back on the amount of enemies, huh? Then again, I suppose that's why you get a bunch of area attacks as your specials immediately. Is so that you can do enough crowd control to keep the enemies off of you. Which does work pretty well, as you can see by how that played out, aside from the initial, like, 50 of them. So I guess I just need to be quick. At least there's not a stamina system or anything to worry about as far as the jumping goes. Light another fire. This way we have a fallback point in case I need one. So far, these things, like I said, though, aren't the biggest threat in the world. Because I can just, like, slap them aside with the spear while I continue hitting their spawner. I do think I made the right choice picking the spear. Is like piercing right through them to keep hitting where they're coming from does make this easier. Though the sword, I presume, would have sweeping hits that would let me just walk a bit closer and do much the same over a wider area. So it really is a matter of, would you rather be closer or further? And with the way those are sparking, I think I'm happier being further away from them, whether it's mechanic or not. I do worry that I'm wasting my coal lighting all of these. Boss room? Boss room. Oh, maybe not. Maybe just tough enemy. We are in a bit of trouble here, though. And I'm going to assume I can't leave. Yep. So I suddenly have to be way more careful. I need to get rid of at least one spawner. So there's one thing about the combat that's not the best, and that is, I tried to roll. I assumed my roll was off cooldown. Now, I might be wrong about it being off cooldown, but it seems like there are points in your attacks where you cannot always roll. Oh, and you can light these too. I have no reason to, because I can see just fine, but Good to know that you can light those. And it does seem that it's exactly what it said on the tin. We dropped everything we were carrying other than our gear when we died. So, you know, mildly annoying, but not really a deal breaker to drop resources. Oh, fuck's sake. The roll cooldown is kind of annoying, and I think I'm gonna get rid of the shield. Because the shield is why I'm having a roll cooldown problem. And I'm not remembering to use the shield enough. I think I'm better off having the faster roll cooldown. If for nothing else, for crossing areas like that. And then I'll be able to dodge a little bit better. On the bright side, we did prove that you can in fact roll when you have a shield. So I at least got rid of that worry. Now, did this, like, reset? Yep, it sure did. Good night, ABC. Yeah, that's what spawns the link for the game, because Lurkit is the service that gave me the keys for these games, so that's how that works. No. As I have explained on numerous other occasions, that is not how that works. Yes. These are all keys given by the service Lurkit. Right, I also dropped all my food. I was gonna put the venison back on the bar so I could actually use it on the go. Because that's our biggest problem right now, is we have no means of healing without having to open that menu. And opening that menu is death. We're currently having a bit of an issue where we're getting just overrun. Is with the amount of spawners in there, I can't really act fast enough to get rid of them. There we go. Will I be able to make this work this time? Okay, good. Just clicking the bag gives me everything. I wasn't sure how that worked either, which is why I hadn't tried the first time. It is nice that you can pile bags up, though. You don't have to... You don't lose them when you die a second time or anything. Okay, one spawner down. Just loop them around and just deal with the spawners. Okay, big guy died due to collateral damage, which is great. There we go. That all went horribly the first time or so because I didn't know the extent of the situation we were walking into. Can I? Yes, I can. Okay. Now we should be able to just press 6 and cease dying. Or at least decrease the amount of dying. I... Okay, I have a dog now, I guess. And the dog collects things for you. Interesting. That's convenient, at least. So the dog is an auto loot system. I can work with that. Ba-na-na-na. Okay, so we got some fancy crystals, a bunch of money, and I think that's everything we got. And this, I presume, takes us back out of here. Yeah, and we know, like, a letter it looked like, based on what that message said. Okay, exotic weapons and tools can be found across islands, so there is loot. There's just not, like, tons of it around. Does the dog fight? No, the dog just exists. Okay, dog's just vibing. That's fine, because that also means the dog probably can't take damage, because I walked him around in front of that enemy and it didn't target him. So I don't have to worry about the dog getting hurt. I do, however, have to worry about him getting stuck, apparently. Come on. In. Why are you like this? In. Do I need, like, to make a dog ramp for you or something? Come on. In. What? Why did the door spin around? Hang on. But I can't even make a ramp. Oh, there we go. He just teleports. Okay, that's fine. I was gonna try to figure out how to, like, jam the stairs into the floor to try to get this dog to stop having trouble with the door. I don't even know if that would have solved the problem. Oh, it's 30 salvaged metal, not 20. Dang nabbit. Oh, Tarragon's a whole other island, so I need to go find the other island then. You're selling berries. I guess you are selling a hat. Oh, okay. So these all give you buffs towards the skills as well. We do have enough money for the bow now. I guess that's just the bait box. It keeps looking like there's a blueprint on top of there is what I kept trying to click on. We'll go ahead and buy the bow. I feel like the bow will be useful to us. I no longer can afford the armor, but I wasn't going to buy the armor probably anyway. Oh, you do sell salvaged metal, though. I can't buy enough of it anymore, though. They do buy wood, which is helpful. Anything useful on the notice board? Oh, you can make the town better and get different benefits from it. Okay, that's actually kind of neat. Including a blackjack minigame, because why not? I assume that's a way to make more coins. You can gamble to get better... Well, not to get better amounts of coins, but just to get more coins. Which more is better, so... technically the statement's not inaccurate. Let's go ahead and get that higher jump height because of the issues we've been having. Oh, that's actually pretty nice. Keep your backpack upon death so you don't have to worry about dropping your items. That's fairly helpful. Oh, well, this just tells you, like, everything. Could do with there being more in here, but it's fine. There are other pets. Okay. We found one tablet. Decent amount of armor sets. Not a ton of them, but a decent amount. There is only 4 acts. And it looks like Act 2 is going to be reasonably short. So not a crazy amount of content, it looks like, but a decent bit. Like, it would last for a little while, at least. Depending on the group playing. Like, obviously, the more people, the faster you would go through some of it. Which, I should probably remind people, since we were talking about it. The game is only $20 right now. Ordinarily, it'd be $30, but during the Steam Summer Sale, it is $20. It is 35% off. And if you've picked up Nightingale at any point, there's a bundle with those two games combined where you can also get a discount there. So, you know, worth considering. Depends on what your interests are and where you think the overall value ends up being. Based on what it reads as, I think there is enough for that price, but I don't know that because obviously I haven't finished it, so I don't know how the rest of it looks. I do know the game has gone 1.0, so all of those acts should be doable. Well, at the very least, so you got that going for you. Okay, you can reduce your fall damage, it seems, by rolling on the way down. I was curious about that. That's why I just pitched myself off there. My smartest move would probably be to build a boat rather than wandering aimlessly around on this island, because we're supposed to go find another island. So in the interest of accomplishing that, this probably would be my wisest idea. I will say, at least the void creatures at night aren't too annoying. Like, they don't just pop up everywhere you go. Oh, okay, the boat is built like that. Okay. For some reason, I was just assuming I was supposed to build the boat here and then take it with me. We should probably make this fletching table, considering I do have a bow now. So wood, stone. The biggest issue is gonna be the feathers, so we don't have very many of them. We only found like the one chicken. And it only makes one arrow per, which makes sense, but unfortunate. At least you don't have to go back to the correct tab to put the stuff back. That's nice. I appreciate any simplifying, as long as it's not too much simplifying. I now no longer have enough wood for the boat, but that's okay. That's easily fixed. I really gotta stop dropping trees on my house. Eventually, I'm gonna break my house doing that, but also there keeps being trees growing into the wall of my house, so I'm kind of damned if I do, damned if I don't there, if you think about it. Let the dog go get the one that fell in the river. Yeah, I probably won't play for too awful much longer. Figuring today will be a nice, relatively short day. And much like with the Wandering Sword stuff we did earlier, I don't want to show too much, so you guys have something to do when you go to play this yourselves, if you so desire to. It'd be silly of me to play everything. Boat. Just manifest boat. Oh good, the dog just sits very casually on the boat. I should eat. That's the torch button, not the food button. Oh, there's a shark. I don't know if the shark will attack me, but I would probably be better served not stopping to find out. I can pull my spear out, but I can't attack while I'm on the boat. I would probably have to stop being in control of the boat. I do like that I can just run the barrels over. I don't have to, like, stop to pick them up. That makes that bit of life a little easier. And I will say the boat steering is easy. Like, there's nothing particularly nuanced about it. It's just WASD, just like walking is. But at least it's effective. Why is it telling me to go there? Is this not Tarragon Island? What's... Or is the town over here? I suppose we should look here first. Ah, there we go. That's how I get up. Or is it because this is something extra? Oh, it's a tablet. Da-na-na-na. Well, we know part of the word language now. Hooray. Like, I guess it's just showing you just the right fragments of the words so that you can compare them to our language and start to make sense of it. The dog's just out here picking up things I'm not even aware exist. Oh, I wonder... I'm pretty sure we can actually be struck by lightning. I think it did say something in a tooltip about being struck by lightning. So, probably don't want to go over there. So, based on the fact that it's raining, I presume I could be struck by lightning basically anywhere. I'm assuming the boat can be damaged, probably. Might be worth finding that out. Just, like, slam the boat into every landmass I find. Whee! Oh. I was kind of hoping to, like, beach the boat. Boat for fun. So I wonder if there's... I'm assuming there's gonna be different stuff we can buy in this town as well, compared to the other one. Maybe, like, different armor pieces and such. Greetings, townsfolk. I have arrived. You have druid stuff, which gives health regen. Neat. And you have... clay, stone, salvaged metal... coal. You also have pumpkin seeds. Okay, you just got a bunch of seeds and food and such. Notice board. Okay, so they sell a lot of decorations if we upgrade here. Which I have very minimal interest in that idea. But it's good to know. Okay, I'll bite. What's the point of this building? Why is this here? Why does it have a door if the entire backside of it's not there? Interesting. These islands are very tiny. It's like, look at this. We've already seen basically the entire island. Is it bad that I'm disappointed that the trees can't be set on fire by the lightning? Or it can't, like, strike a tree down and make it fall on my head? 'Cause I just think that would be funny. It would be a lot of extra stuff to simulate, but it'd be very funny. Oh. There's a thing over here. Oh. I thought it was like an actual shield that I could use. Man. My disappointment is still very measurable. But boy, is it high. You can't just give me something that looks like a gear pile laying on the ground, and then just give me a decorative shield. Hurts my loot goblin soul. Wasn't trying to activate the thing. Trying to activate my murder mode. There we go. Cleared the worst of it. Everything's okay. Just gotta get rid of this spawner now. There we go. Now we can find where the keystones are. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll finish this dungeon and then we'll call it for the day, perhaps. That seems like a reasonable point. Depending on how big this dungeon is, of course. Because based on the way these keystones are described, they may be more significant to get to. You know what? Maybe we'll cliffhanger it then, because those seem distant. And they may be dungeons in their own right to activate the keystones this time. We'll see how it looks. We'll play it by ear and figure it out as it goes. This does mean I need to get back to my boat, which they thankfully are kind enough to mark on the map. This dog is magic, and I don't know what to do with that information. This is still circle. So the runes weren't the thing that caused the golden circle then. What did I miss here? Ow. Oh, I didn't miss the island, I can tell you that one. Oh, I think that's more land over here than I thought. This is all within the circle, so I presume there's just something like laying on the ground somewhere around here, or that I didn't spot. Not on this side though, unless it is just still circling the rune stone. But why would it be? I already interacted with that. I can't zoom in any closer to get an idea of a bird's eye view here. I have no idea what it wants from me, because there's not really anything standing out. Which perhaps that's the problem, is there's nothing standing out here and there's something else I'm supposed to figure out from that. Yeah, it's just a stick. Okay, I can break those broken trees, but why would I? Weird. Maybe it's just bugged. Maybe it's supposed to have gone away and it didn't. Or there's something I don't understand. Either or. Got options for that one. I'm not gonna waste our time staring at this trying to figure out what the missing element here is right now. Doesn't benefit anybody if I sit there and fiddle with that. To the north! Away! I will say, it is very convenient that the wind just happens to be with us no matter what direction we're facing. Because we seem to go the same speed no matter where we're going. Oh. Okay, they're just currents. I thought that was like a wind wall or something, and I was gonna have a problem getting around it. Turns out, no, they're just currents. That probably would be much faster to follow them if they happen to go in useful directions. Because they seem to just, you know, move you. Took it a real second to think about that one. We're almost there. They probably had to load a lot more when we got over here. Considering, you know, there's a whole island here. Spawner there. Got anything interesting that I can spot from the shore? Oh yeah, right click turns the camera, by the way. I didn't even bother to do that at any point before now, because I only just realized I can do that. There's a bottle. Not really that interested in that. I got a bunch of glass already. I'm just kind of circling the island to get an idea of what I'm getting into before I get in there, and well, it's not particularly helping me. You know, this will be a fun place to try to get in from. I would probably be doing a lot better if I actually bothered to use the timed attacks. Okay. I guess this is why it's called the Forgotten Outpost Keystone, is there's just bits and pieces of an area here. There's the building that we need to go in. Let's clear the surface out first so I don't walk out of here and get immediately bodied. Because as funny as that would potentially be, that would be very ineffective. Besides, more runes. These deer keep running away before I can get close. Perhaps if I changed my approach. You mean by not approaching them and, like, firing arrows at them, perhaps? Speaking of, I never did put the bow on the bar after I made the arrows for it. Okay, so that's how shooting works. Answer, not the greatest, but it'll work. There's a timing element to it, though. And at least they do just fly pretty perfectly, so you don't have to worry about that too badly. And apparently they didn't realize I was doing that enough to stop me? So maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's an advantage to using the bow. As one would expect there to be, really. Anything cool here? Just a fancy table, I guess. Munch, munch. And in we go. And now that we know the torches aren't necessary to light, I'm probably not going to bother lighting them. Yep. I'm not the biggest fan of the spawn rate around here. It does feel a little overkill this early on. Like, I was fine with it at first, because I was like, okay, yeah, it's a main dungeon bit. There's gonna be a decent amount of them at first. But this is just for one of the keystones to get into the dungeon, so if the numbers are just continuing to increase, I have some concerns in that line. Especially since we don't really have any means of healing other than using our food. And I don't really want to just keep using what little venison I have to heal minor injuries constantly. But thankfully the regen is reasonably quick. It's not too bad. And obviously if I'd spent the time building up to get armor, I'd probably be having a slightly easier time clearing these. I wanted that ranged thing dead. Oh boy. We're doing this dance again, huh? Nope, 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 nope. Where did you come from? I killed your spawner. I guess you were just stuck somewhere? In an idiot? He's not gonna be smart. There we go. Popped him one. Wait, did I read that right? Yeah, I do already have 101 Dark Essence, so, let that be a note of how much I've had to fight already. Because we've only been playing this game barely 2 hours and I have 100 Dark Essence already. And they don't always drop it. Like, a lot of the enemies don't drop it and the spawners do. So let that affect your calculations of how much I've had to fight. Having gone through only one dungeon and now part of an area leading to another one. It's a little rough out here. Not outrageously so, but just like, you know, for a game that had its co-op added later, I do wonder why the spawns are the way they are. Now, this is clearly a smithy, but I can't use it. So that's mildly disappointing. Not surprising, but mildly disappointing. Is there something up here? Because we can get up here? No. Oh, there's one thing up here. Disappointment. Like, the movement is reasonably satisfying. I have to give them credit where credit's due on that. And the combat's not bad, aside from when you start getting dogpiled. It gets a little sketchy. And I'm not a big fan of these guys just appearing out of the edge of the area here. It's like, what's the point in killing off all the spawners if sometimes just little guys just keep coming out of nowhere anyway? But I have to assume they're just getting stuck, and that's how they're showing up. Because they are, like, small scuttle boys. They may just be getting stuck in crevices and such and finding their way to me when I come back. Sigh. Sometimes the roll don't roll. Like, this is a perfect example of there being a few too many of them at once for one person to be reasonably expected to handle. Oh, also those spikes stay, apparently. And constantly deal damage, so, you know, that's not great. Where? Why? Why is this thing here? With how much more involved getting through all of these keystone places are, I don't think we're doing all of them tonight. As it turns out, this is going to take longer than I thought, because each of these are a dungeon in and of themselves. So we'll see how long I go for this, then. Because it really depends on how long it's going to take to finish this one. Which, based on how these fights are going, it may take a bit. Doesn't help that I keep finding more enemies because I only have so many means of dodging things without finding more problems. There we go. Okay, cleaned up the mess. We're okay. Everything's fine. Look at this. Why is that just still spawning more? Like, they don't seem to have a cap as to how many they can spawn once they're activated, and that's part of the problem. Well, that was needlessly brave, but it worked. I was gonna be clever and shoot him because I thought he was gonna stop to shoot again, and he charged instead, so it really could have gone very badly wrong. So considering the lay of the land here, you could probably bypass a lot of these fights by just, like, parkouring around. And considering the dog goes and collects items, you don't have to push all the way through to get the loose items. The dog can go get them as long as he detects that they exist. Gimme goodies. Nothing. No, there's definitely a door there. Just didn't open when I bumped it the first time. So, I know that these are important for set dressing, but I really do wish there was more interaction with some of the stuff in these areas, like the beds and such that are just kind of there. I do wish I could, like, disassemble them or interact with them or have anything happen with them. Like, I don't really know why he's got, like, this weird personal limit of I will only smash the crates, not break the machinery and random tables and chairs that I find. It just feels odd. Like, an argument could be made for avoiding, like, blunting your weapons on them. But still. Oh, now there's gonna be a real fight in here, apparently. Because the other fight wasn't a real fight. Did I, like, pick the hardest keystone to go to first or something? This is a little silly. This certainly can't be the easiest one. Well, I suppose it could be, but I don't want to think about that. God, these spikes. I'm gonna need to play keep away for a little bit, get some health back, even though that's gonna mean more of them are gonna spawn. I would use my bow, but the bow shoots so slow. I'm better off, like, dodging and poking. Just try to clear, like, the big guys, and then we'll start working on the rest of the problem. Okay, big guys are both gone. Little guy population is currently under control. Spawners are starting to be dealt with. The way they sometimes go through my attacks is also mildly upsetting. Like, I think the only way to guaranteed stagger them might be the actual, like, perfect timed attacks. Okay, we got through it, though. Wasn't great, but we got through it. Yeah, of course those are gonna fall. You can tell because they're different patches of stone there. Lightning from afar is also not ideal because you get caught up in the middle of a mess like that and you just have nothing you can do about that. Because we had no way to know that he was lurking off the edge of the screen until he popped across and blasted me. Where are you all coming from? There's clearly too many of you for you to just be stuck somewhere. Do they just, like, spawn? Without a spawner? How does that work? There's clearly some rhyme or reason to them existing outside of the spawners, because there's too many of them. Oh, I see. Wait, does this mean we could have bypassed that whole big fight if I just broke this down? Because this is right next to where we died. Oh, boy, is this taking a while to break. There it goes. Good lord. That lightning hurts so much. Like, every tick it's touching you, it does another 5 damage. And it ticks fast. Huh. Yeah, you know, I really do think they definitely expect you to have armor by the time you get to this one. Because there's no way that they reasonably expect you to deal with all of this just with shirt and pants like I'm doing right now. That is asking quite a lot. It's doable, as I'm clearly demonstrating, but you would definitely have a better time if you came in with at least a piece of armor. Just so you're not getting destroyed constantly like I've been. Oh, there was an enemy hiding in the barrel. Of course there was. Wonderful. All of this for a little island that had nothing on it, by the way. Little island that had a couple little mushrooms on it. Because this was probably intended to be a path that you took going the way I'm going now. Not actually leading to anything else. It was a loop around. Which, arguably, that was an easier fight than the fight we had up there. So, taking that as a side path to avoid that fight does make sense. But I think you'd still have to do the fight anyway, because the bridge we just used leads into the fight room. So I think you're stuck with that either way. But that is the end of the dungeon. Okay. And we got bracers, so that's good. They got unlocked. Oh, okay. That's slightly odd. But I guess that makes it easy for everybody in a group to get them. So I wonder if I just didn't... No, because we got the dog in the other dungeon, so I guess you wouldn't get armor from the other one? Unless I just didn't spot it. Though this giving... Oh no, it does give some damage blocking. Okay. That's useful. We'll see how much that actually affects things. There we go. Oh, do I have to defend this now or something? Because I can't help but notice the music's kicked up and a bunch of dudes have been showing up. Or have I just pissed them off by doing that? I'm not really sure. No, it seems to have stopped. No? Nope, they're still coming. And they're coming faster. I also can't help but notice there isn't an exit warp this time. So do I have to fight my way out of here now? Yeah, they're spawning behind me too, so I think I'm just meant to run out of here rather than fighting. And they're just gonna swarm and chase you. Which, that's neat. I don't know how entirely I feel about it because of situations like this where they spawn in awkward places, but I like the idea. Though this does provide the player with a means of infinitely farming dark arc energy, which I'm not entirely sure is what they would have intended with that, but that's what would happen. Players being players, they will absolutely just farm things when given opportunities like that. Yeah, I think I stand by my recommendation to bring at least a friend to make this a better experience. This isn't bad by any means. This is fun. I'm just a little worried about that spawn rate. For most people, because it does seem like it's going to get to be a bit much. Oh yeah, I opened the menu to heal. That was the thing. And we parked our boat over there. Like, I have no problem with the traveling island to island and having to go back to base that way or anything. That's all fine. It would be nice to have a means of fast traveling, but it's not far enough to warrant needing one. Like, that would just be more of a convenience feature than a necessary feature. And at least there was that unlockable ability to avoid needing to go fetch backpacks or anything all the time. So that's also not too bad. Let's take stock of what we picked up, and then I'll finish making the decision whether we're going to go do one more of the Keystone dungeons or not. Use this to speed us along a bit. That is way faster. As long as you can follow the currents in a useful direction, they definitely make a big difference. There seems to be a lot of these currents around. So you can probably find one going most any way you need to be going. And of course they lead one into the other like this, so it works out pretty well. We have enough money that I think we can buy the armor that's for sale here. At least I think we have money. Yeah, we got 75 coins, so we should be able to buy the armor that's here. So I do want to do one more dungeon just so we can do a comparison on that logic at the very least. Why is this guy in the town? Why aren't the townsfolk doing anything about the void creatures just wandering in? Yeah, but see, that's another good bit. Oh, right, I need the tanned leather to buy these, though. But considering that's the same amount as what the arm bracers we found do, I do have to assume that that would be very beneficial. My boat was just freaking out for a moment there. It was a little weird. I was a little worried about that one. Let's go ahead and cook up the leather we're gonna need just right here. That won't be enough for both of them, I don't think. We're one hide short. If we had one more hide, that would be 3... Wait, no, it's 3 per, so yes, we'll have 4 at the end of it because we already have 1. So yes, that'll work. It's just gonna take a hot minute, which is fine. Gives me a second to stretch and everything. And gather my thoughts a little bit. I would say I don't know about trying to play this with a controller. It really depends on how it would lock to the menus and such. That's one thing I cannot guarantee anything with. As far as moving and attacking and everything goes, I think that part, including the platforming and everything, I think that'll all work fine with the controller. It's just the menus that I would be a little sketchy on. But I think if you could get used to dealing with that, it probably would be fine. And it's got good ideas here, like I was saying, because the way the machines work and everything seem to be good and solid. Not really the way I personally prefer it, but it's good enough and it gets the job done without being complicated. So there's a benefit there. Oh right, it's 4 for chest at all. I would rather the chest plate though. The way this menu works is a little weird. But at least now we have 3 full bits of damage blocking, so we should actually sustain reasonably well. Oh, you've got different stuff here. Oh, that would actually be nice to get. So you're telling me there's a hat that I could have bought after the bow that would have done the same thing as the thing I put all those points into? That's unfortunate. But it's fine. Good to know that their stock does change if you buy it, though. Because that adds value to actually purchasing the stuff, in addition to just having the stuff. So that's worth keeping in mind. I do kind of want to know about the enchanting table, but I don't know if I really want to run around and try to find 10 more iron to see what that does. Because there's probably going to be even more stuff that it's going to need. Okay, that needs steel to make the marksman bow. Kind of figured, but I needed to check that. Let's put this stone away. Oh wait, no, we do only need 1 more iron shard. And I have 1 iron shard there. Okay, hang on. We can make this work. I just need to go get a bunch of wood. Though, that needs 75 wood. How would you even do that? I guess I would need to put wood in a bunch of my hotbar slots. Except I don't think it counts hotbar slot wood, so you'd have to upgrade your bag before you can do that upgrade. So that's not ideal. Because that means this is straight up not doable without upgrading the bag. That's annoying. We might be able to use the refinery, though, to do something here. see if I can do something clever. Okay, it needs fuel, which makes sense. Okay, yeah, you can make iron out of stone, so that's very helpful, actually. Because it said precious metals, and I immediately realized, like, wait a minute. Iron's not technically a precious metal, but maybe it would let me, and lo and behold, it works. So that helps solve the iron problem. Because I was worried that it's like, you would have to keep chasing down iron nodes constantly with how expensive things are as far as iron goes in this game. So I was real concerned that you were going to very quickly run into iron shortages. So that solves that, at least. The big issue then we would have is we'd have to do a lot of hunting in order to get enough tanned leather. And that does cook kind of slow, which isn't the best. But I think there was a cook rate setting, and if there isn't, that would be an easy enough thing for the devs to implement, I would figure. But there may also just be, like, better ways to cook down the line, which is why that isn't actually an issue. It's just an issue right now in the frame of reference of the short run we're doing to show the game off. Is that is a context thing that people need to consider when they're looking at impressions like this as well. This is purposely kept relatively short so you guys get just an early impression of the game, not the whole thing. So keep that in mind when you frame what I'm saying here. Much like when you look at somebody playing something blind for the first time, there is an extra layer or so to that as well. I know there was a rabbit there. Thought I saw one. The tree. Interesting that the bushes are solid enough to catch arrows. I'm also not confident a single arrow would have taken the rabbit anyway. Is the spear and the bow do about the same damage, and it takes 2 hits from the spear. But how much hide do we have now? We have 9, and we needed 4 hand hide for the upgrade, right? Or was it? No, it was 3, I think. So I think we actually have enough. Remember when I kept saying it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stop at this point, I'll stop at that point. Let it show that this is at least managing to do the survival game hook very well, where I keep trying to do more things and having a hard time stopping. It is doing well in that vein. Because there's a lot to do. And I will give credit where credit's due as far as that goes. Yeah, it was 3, but I need more gold coins as well. Harvest Moon will rise tonight. I don't know what that means. But we can sell some stuff to try to make the coins. No, we won't. We need 35. That is more than I'll be able to make up. I'm pretty sure. So I don't think we can sell Dark Essence, because I don't think people are going to want that. Okay, Lightstone is a powerful fuel source and attracts enemies to a bait box. Okay. Yeah, we can only sell things that people are buying, that they are selling us, rather. Like, you can only send it back, essentially, which is a little silly. I don't have enough seeds to be able to sell. Yeah, because you can only sell in units of 5. I wouldn't really want to sell my salvaged metal for 3. I could just sell a lot of wood, but that seems silly. Oh, the roses sell for a decent amount. There we go. We only need 20 more now. That's actually better than expected. So hang on, there's still a chance. Where there's a will, there's a way. This is by no means the efficient method of doing this, but this is the way we're ending up doing it, apparently. Thankfully, you can gather wood, like, super fast, and you can just let the trees come back because they naturally respawn. So it's not like you're going to deplete your supply in order to make money. We're not going full capitalist here. Bees! Goddamn communist bees. Say capitalism and they immediately attack me. Yeah, that wood does not sell very well, but you know what? It'll get the job done. I probably would have been better off, like, seeking out more rose bushes or something. But this is less running around. And since I'm intending to wrap up relatively soon, I wouldn't want to be doing a lot of extra running around. Because there's no guarantee I would get results running around either. There we go. That should be enough wood to do the job. And thankfully, the good dog helps me collect everything, so I don't have to run up and down all the time. Can I interact with the cat, or does the cat just run around? Cat runs away from me specifically. I wonder if it's because I have the dog, or if the cat just always runs away from you, unless you offer it something, perhaps. Okay, we have all the gold we need. I don't think anybody will be surprised by me just parkouring over the houses there. I realized I could jump high enough, so obviously that was going to happen. Forgot to grab the tanned leather out of the fire. And then we're gonna have to harvest a bit more wood, and then we can get the upgrade, and I may end up disappointed at the end of this because we might still not be able to make the enchanting table because it may need things that I don't have. But I decided that I was committed to crafting it, so here we are. Because what you can enchant your gear to do will make a very big difference towards how I feel about the progression here. Because if the enchantments are significant, then that means they expect you to use them, which is fine. If they're insignificant, then that either means the armor we got is more significant than I expect it to be, or they expect it to be difficult, which is fine. Like, it's not a problem if they expect this to be difficult right out the box. Because again, you have the option of fixing that for yourself because there are options for that. But I'm purely basing everything I'm saying on the base game experience because that's what most people will experience, because a lot of people aren't going to touch those settings. They're just going to go in as is and see how the experience goes. This gets you a better boat, wooden water tower. Ah, so there is fast travel, but you have to get to steel level to get it. Okay, and there are defenses you can build. Like, we already had some defensive options appearing. So that's nice. And I'm assuming a scythe will just be really good at harvesting plants, probably. Probably good for harvesting your own grown plants and everything. Ah, that's what I was afraid of. Oh, we're not making that because it needs steel. Ah, that's a shame. I probably needed to have made the smelter. Yeah, smelts minerals into precious ingots used for advanced crafting. And that's going to take enough extra legwork that I'm not doing that right now. So we won't get to find out how effective the enchantments are. Because that will probably take a while to get sorted out because it needs a bunch of material. Like, I would have needed to have not used all that salvaged metal up making the upgrade. And And we also don't have enough sapphire, though. You can get those by refining clay, so that's not a problem. Like, we just pour clay in here instead, and that'll sort that issue out. So we need more clay for that. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make that happen. Because we already tapped this island out as far as salvaged metal goes for the most part, so we'd have to go to a new place. Nope, getting hungry. There's a slight delay on that hunger bar going up, by the way, so since I just clicked away at it, it definitely jumped way faster than intended. So that may have been because of the saving happening, because I think it was saving at the same time. Yeah, overall impressions are positive for this. Here is the link for the game again, if you want to look at it for yourself. As I said, it is 1.0 and it does have multiplayer. I don't know how well the multiplayer works, because obviously there was no one available to do that with right now. I will say the game does bill itself as a dungeon crawler and an action RPG, so that may be where the pivot in the perspective is. So if it's geared more toward an experience like that, that would explain the amount of enemies and everything, and make that make a bit more sense. That is what you get when you reread a description and double check yourself. But we are going to wrap up here at about 4.5 hours in. I just have to quickly find us a place to be. And then we will be on our way. That's a possibility. Let me just knock audio for a second and see where they're at before I fully send this idea. Okay, yeah, they do have some people in with them. Nah. The audio is all over the place on that. Let's not say we did. Indecision strikes as always. I have too many choices in front of me. And a lot of them could do with the people. Like, there's always plenty of people who would benefit from the support. And that is, of course, my main focus, is benefiting my friends and others as much as possible. Obviously, there's a benefit to myself at times as well, but that's not the priority. Usually not, anyway. But now and then you have to. Ooh. That's an interesting one. And are they ending or have they not? No, there's probably ending. Yeah, they're wrapping up, it looks like, based on the fact that I see a just chatting screen. And then they're many, many hours in. So, not going to be that one. Even though that would have been an interesting game to see. God, I hate that these choices can be difficult sometimes. Like, it obviously doesn't have to be difficult, but I make it difficult by being picky. I think that's all just expected at this point, though. so many people are playing Wilds because of the title update as well. And I just don't really have that much interest in watching people play Wilds right now, because I'm still, like, super far behind on that. And with some of these, it would invariably turn into, hey, don't you want to help me with this? It's like, well, I can't, because I've done, like, nothing with that game. Yeah, you know what? What time are you at this point? About 2 hours in. Yeah, that should be fine, because I presume they'll be going for a bit longer yet. And it's been a while since we've been over there. We'll go see Zwar, who's working on some emotes. So, thank you all for taking the time to be here. Apologies for the mild issues we had a couple times, like me forgetting to have switched the timed message over. But, you know, it is what it is. These things happen. Hopefully you all enjoyed the 2 games that were shown today. They were both good, so do make sure to check them out if you are interested in either of them. And we will finish up Resident Evil tomorrow. So, thank you all again for your time. Have a good time, be good to Zwar, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night. Yep, it's doing the thing again where things break a little bit.